So picture this. You're faced with a major setback. Maybe it's a career hurdle, a relationship issue, a money challenge, or even a health concern. Your emotions are running high, and now you're struggling to stay centered. What do you do? That's what we're going to talk about today. So, welcome to Soul and Strategy. I'm Dawn Marie, your host. And this is where I get to guide you on how to blend your inner wisdom with actionable steps to achieve the success you desire. In today's episode, we're taking a deep dive into the art of regulating your emotions when faced with difficult situations. And of course, as always, with actionable steps for you to move forward and master the art of emotional regulation. Picture this. You're faced with a major setback. So maybe it's a career hurdle, a relationship issue, a health concern, a money challenge. Oftentimes it's more than one. Your emotions are running high and you're struggling to stay centered. What do you do? This is where most people drop it, but today we're going to talk about it. Welcome to Soul and Strategy. I'm Dawn Marie, your host, and this is a space where I offer guidance on how to blend your inner wisdom with actionable steps so that you can achieve the success you desire. And in today's episode, this is what we're diving into: the art of regulating emotions, even when you're faced with difficult situations. And I'll give you some actionable steps so that you can then master the situation Okay, picture this. You're faced with a major setback. Maybe it's a career hurdle or a relationship issue or even a health concern. Your emotions are running high and you're struggling to stay centered and not freak out. What do you do? Welcome to Soul and Strategy, where I am your host, Dawn Marie, and I help you to learn the Okay, picture this. You're faced with a major setback, have a major challenge come up. Maybe it's a career hurdle or a relationship issue, a money challenge, or even a health concern. Your emotions are all over the place and they're running high, and you're really struggling to stay centered. What do you do? Today, I want to talk about that. But first, I want to welcome you to Soul and Strategy podcast. My name is Dawn Marie. I'm your host, and this is a space where we explore how to blend the inner wisdom with actionable steps to achieve the success that you desire. And in today's episode, we're taking a deep dive into some actionable steps of mastering the art of regulating your emotions when facing difficult situations. So I'm sure you can relate. We've all been there where we just feel scattered, and it's almost like having a nervous breakdown or something. Like your emotions are so high strung, you cannot think, create, take action from this space. It's not going to be in your highest interest, I promise you. And we've heard it. Well, calm down. Well, how do you calm down? How do you actually hold the energy of the thing that's going on and balancing that out in a way that is going to serve you to your highest good? I want to share some steps with you and how you can start practicing that now and become a master at it very quickly. So the first thing is you want to acknowledge your emotions. Oftentimes when people are faced with this, they hide from their emotions. They push them away. They bury them down deep. They ignore them. They pretend they don't exist. they look the other way, they do anything other than what I'm saying to do today, which is acknowledge them. Yeah, you got to look that right in the eye, acknowledge it. It's really essential that you recognize, the feelings that you're feeling. So whether it's angry, whether it's sadness, fear, frustration, there are no right or wrong feelings. What's important is that you allow yourself to fully experience the emotion without judgment. So ignoring or suppressing the emotions, it's only going to prolong the process of healing, and it's going to be deep down in you, muddying up the waters, so to say, of your overall vibe, your overall frequency, and it's going to hinder you in everything that you do. All right, so the first step is always to acknowledge them. They're coming up for a reason, and we can't identify what the reason is if we don't first acknowledge and identify what the emotions are. The second thing I want to share with you is about practicing mindfulness. So, mindfulness techniques such as like deep breathing, meditation, body scans, these things can help bring your focus back to the present moment. So, not one thing works for everybody. I find myself in a place that I need to shift it up every once in a while. I need to create my own little routine and then change it up every here and there, keeping it fresh. So whatever works best for you, if the deep breathing really does it for you, then definitely continue to work with that. Meditation is amazing for some people, and others, like, they're just not interested. It's not their jam, and I get that. What's important is that you find something that you connect with that's easier and natural for you to do, to help pull in your energy, pull in all of your parts and pieces, and get centered and grounded into the now, the right now, the present moment. Not in the future freaking out, not in the past regret, but the right now moment. So by grounding yourself in the here and the now, you can then cultivate a sense of calm, even in the midst of the chaos. So this is what they're talking about when they say the eye of the storm, the peace of the eye of the storm. You can literally be right smack in the middle of everything and feel the calmest you've ever felt, knowing that the things are spinning on around you, but it's not changing who you are or how you're receiving things, or how your whole overall being, if you will. That's really a good place for you to be able to identify and examine actionable steps that's actually going to help you propel forward versus spinning your wheels. So that's number 2, is practice mindfulness. Number 3 is challenge negative thoughts. This was a big one for me. I did not realize how much negativity was stuck in between my ears. Now, I already was very aware and really doing well with any kind of negativity outside of me, cutting that off, minimizing it, eliminating it, pushing it away, and not allowing it in. But when it came to the negative thoughts, that thing that goes on between your ears 24/7, that was something that I had not overcome. I didn't even realize it. But when we're faced with adversity, our minds often spiral into negative thinking patterns. Oh my God, what if? And then what if this happens? And what if that's how? And before you know it, it's out of control. So when we challenge these thoughts and ask yourself if they're actually based on facts or assumptions, it's going to be a game changer. Reframing negative thought beliefs into a more realistic an empowering perspective. So if you're anything like me, I have a wild imagination, and it can either work for me or it can work against me. And for many years, it literally worked against me without me even recognizing it. If one little thing went out of whack in my life, and I gave myself the time and the space to think on it for more than 30 seconds without just doing a knee jerk reaction, I would get on this crazy train of this one little minor thing turning into a whole catastrophe, and the whole world was coming to an end and it was hopeless. You might as well lay down now. And it was exhausting. It was not effective. And quite honestly, it was not fun. So when you challenge those negative thoughts, that's when you start to take control over them. That's when you start to gain your power back. And ask yourself, you know what? Is this based on facts? Is it based on reality? Or is it based on assumptions or what ifs? Stick to what the reality is. Stick to what the facts are. And don't give your mind the space and the freedom to start coming up with assumptions, because it will take over. And then I want you to reframe the negative beliefs into something more realistic and empowering perspectives. And how do you do that? Well, here's an example. Let's say a money challenge hit, and suddenly all four of your tires blew and you need all four new tires, and that money is really not there. It's there, but it's going to really mess up your budget. You'll be late with the car payment. You'll be late with the rent, and you could see where this can go. If you give your mind the space and the time, before you know it, you'll be homeless. You'll be poor and out in the street, all over four tires. When the reality is, yes, it's a challenge. Yes, it's a bump in the road. No, it's not the end of the world. Now you can start thinking creatively. Well, how can I just minimize or eliminate this problem here? How can I handle this problem here? Like, I don't have to save the whole world. We're not all going to die and go to hell. That's not what's happening. It's just four tires. How can I fix that? And what time frame do I have to fix it? Do I need to generate more income? Do I need to find used tires that will work just as well? What are my solutions? You can think with a clearer mind when you start challenging those negative thoughts. So number 4 is seek support. Oftentimes when we get like this, it's one of two things. We either go inward and that negative thought spiral starts happening, or we start complaining and venting and freaking out to people around us. Neither one of those are effective. I can promise you. I've been in both of those positions. But you do want to have your go-to people. You want to make sure that you have these people in place ahead of time, because it's not something you want to think about too much at the moment. But don't hesitate to reach out to them, your go-to friends, your go-to family, even a therapist or somebody else in your career world. It could be a coworker. If you're self-employed, it could be like a group that you belong to. But make sure that it's somebody that's supportive towards you and that you're not just complaining or freaking out, that they're actually there to support you and help you process through it and help bring comfort in during difficult times, right? So they can provide validation, they can provide an exterior, an outside perspective, which is often very helpful. And they can bring you comfort during these difficult times. But you're going to want to choose wisely on this and make sure that everybody in your boat is actually rowing and not drilling holes. So number 5 is engage in self-care. Now, what the hell does self-care have to do with dealing with these, problems that come up with everything? everything. How you do one thing is how you do everything. So it's really important to keep in mind that prioritizing self-care activities that nourish your mind and your body and your soul, and that can look like what it looks like for you. It could be exercise, it could be journaling, it could be taking a walk, or even just sitting in nature. It could be indulging in a hobby. It could be anything, any part of a self-care routine, but it does need to be non-negotiable. This is usually what we throw out the window first, but this is not what's going to serve us best. We still need that balance. We still need to feel and know that we are okay. This too shall pass. And that brings me to number 6. Cultivate resilience. So I want you to start expanding your thought process and view challenges as opportunities for growth and learning. Instead of saying, oh my God, you're not going to believe what happened to me, I want you to ask yourself, your higher self, spirit, God, universe, whatever you call that thing that's bigger than you, how is this happening for me? What am I missing? Because it feels like it's happening to me, but I know there's an opportunity here. It's an opportunity for change. It's an opportunity for growth. It's an opportunity for learning something that's going to really impact my journey moving forward. I want to see that perspective. I want you to reflect on your past experiences where you've overcome some obstacles, and remind yourself of your inner strength and resilience, because this is a time when you feel the weakest. But the truth is, you're a warrior. That's how you've made it this far. You've overcome so much. This is why I like to keep what I call my badass list. And it's about things that I've overcome, challenges I've faced, and really just crushed on the way, things I've accomplished that weren't possible to accomplish. I write those things down and I call it my badass list, because when I'm hit with this kind of stuff, with these kinds of challenges, or for whatever reason, I'm feeling less than, and my thoughts are, like knee-jerk reaction going to the less than, that's when I pull out this list and remind myself of all the things I've accomplished, of the strength, the inner strength I really have, and how much the universe supports my steps. Okay? So remember, regulating your emotions during these hard challenges, it is a skill, and it does take practice, and it takes patience. But by incorporating these actionable steps into your life, you can navigate adversity with a greater ease and resilience. And pretty soon, it will feel like second nature to you. It won't be as big of a deal for you. It'll be an automatic kick into the motion of regulating those emotions. So thanks for tuning in to Emotional Regulation Mastery. Until next time, I want you to take care of yourself and remember that you are capable of overcoming anything that life throws your way. If you've enjoyed this episode, I want you to be sure to subscribe and turn notifications on. Check in the description for more places to find me, as well as how you can work with me privately. And until then, master your emotions. See you next time.